Welcome to Dodgers Daily. Casey Porter here, joined by a very, very, very happy Coach Holt on this Wednesday morning. And I can tell you for more than one reason, obviously the Dodgers got back in the win column. That's always a really good thing. But, hey, played some good baseball in the late innings of the first game yesterday. Played a good second game. It was good baseball for the Dodgers, wasn't it?
It was great baseball. I mean, we talk about it all the time, Case. I mean, all the analytics, all the sophistication of baseball now. This comes down to pitching, playing good defense, and playing some moving runners all right. It's the same thing that 100 years ago and 200 years of baseball was doing.
Timely hitting,
moving runners. The Dodgers gave up, 4 hits first game, 3 hits the second. 2 runs and a doubleheader they gave up. Pitching was great. Defense was good, timely hitting. A recipe for success. And
absolutely.
Everybody's coming off the ledge now after the 5-game losing streak, so we're all good.
Yeah, and I can tell you this. Hey, yes, it is 1 of 162. I'll be honest with you. I thought this Dodgers team had too much firepower, both pitching-wise and on the mound, to lose 5 games in a row. So, and I think there's a lot of people in the Dodgers organization that felt the same way. So, yeah, you can say 1 of 162. Yeah, it's whatever, okay? I can tell you the people inside the organization don't feel that. And when you lose 5 games in a row with the roster like the Dodgers have, dinner starts not tasting quite as good. I mean, you feel that. I don't care what anybody says, right?
Well, what's it, the longest losing streak in 5 years for the Dodgers?
Yeah.
No, it's been a while since we've seen them lose 5 games in a row. We also don't take into account, we kind of tend to forget, Muncie's out. Shohei's injured. He's playing. But he's not 100%. There's a lot of things that went into that. Just catch a hot team on the road. There's a lot of things that go into that. Everybody's got major league players. We forget, even the Reds. They're losing 3 in a row to a bad team. They've got major league players. They've got $1 million baseball players too. So there's a small margin of success and failure in the major leagues. And just so happened we lost 5 in a row. But we know the Worm's going to turn their case. I mean, this is too good a team to. It's a long season. It's no fun. Like you said, I guarantee there's a lot of unhappy people during the 5-game losing streak within the organization, but everybody knows that wasn't going to last.
Sure. I'm not saying everybody was miserable and everybody was pressing, and I'm not saying they were in the clubhouse throwing stuff and yelling at each other. I'm not saying that, but I promise you that there was some frustration. There was some moments like, God, this sucks, man. I'm losing. I don't care what level you're on. I don't care how much of a professional you become. That word does mean something. Hey, he's a real professional. I don't care all of that. Losing still sucks. At some level, losing still sucks.
No doubt about it. And let's get down to brass tacks. If Hudson don't come in and do what he does, it's a 6-game losing streak.
Yeah.
For him to pull the magic act and get out of that in the first game, that's big. That's huge. I love when he runs off the mound.
Oh, and that's sweet. We wanted that edge, right? Hey, there's your edge right there.
Our guy. Where's Joe Kelly? There's Daniel.
Yeah. Hey, New York fans.
That's right. We're in the
Kiss
Queens.
it, right?
We're in the Queens, but shut it down. I think I saw his quote. He said, "We're still the Dodgers. We're good." I was going to let them know we're still good.
There is a guy right there that just goes to show you, man. I mean, hey, you're not supposed to ride that wave, right? You're supposed to be even keel.
Yep.
I've said this many different times. There are parts throughout your season to where you do get higher and you do get lower. That was a higher moment for him, just because it's a culmination, man. I mean, he's been dealing with the knee injuries. I saw him several different times in Oklahoma City, and I'm sure there were many different times he walked off the mound in a minor league setting going, I'm not quite sure I'm ever going to get back to the major leagues, right? Yeah. So walking off of that mound yesterday, it was a culmination of a whole bunch of different things for him. That's the fire we're talking about, that a guy like that has a hunger to him that this Dodgers team needs.
Well, we've been missing Joe Kelly, too. That's another.
Yes.
That's the other fire guy. That's our guy out of the pen who has no problem doing that to anybody, anytime.
And Muncie.
And Muncie, you're missing some of that. That's the other part. They're major league players, but they're playing a kid's game for a lot of money, and they love to play. And who knows Hudson? Hudson can build off that. I mean, yes, it's 1 out of 100. I don't care. That's a great. He comes in on a 5-game losing streak. Hey, here's the ball. We're getting ready to get beat again. No, I don't think so. So that's something he's going to build off of. His teammates love it. He loves it, and he just comes in and shows what he's made of. That was an awesome time. That may be something we look back on at some point going, hey, we're almost at a 6-game losing streak till this guy bailed us out.
Yeah, no doubt. Of course, he got himself in it, not throwing enough strikes, but then he got himself out of it, which was almost better because it gave the Dodgers some momentum. That kind of brings you to Freddie Freeman, Coach. Yeah. Freddie Freeman, hey, I love veterans, and you know as well as I do, when you have a veteran-laden team, it becomes their team, not yours, right? I mean, the best teams in the world are the ones that are led, and I mean, basically a coach is hitting fungos and filling out a lineup, and then your veterans are really running your team at that point. That's really how the best teams go. That's how the Dodgers are, right? I mean, Freddie Freeman, to an extent, is going to dictate his playing time. He's going to dictate all of that kind of stuff. He's earned that right, okay? But I do think the 2 days off, and then you see Freddie Freeman go, 5 for 8 yesterday? He hits the home run in the second game. Mm-hmm. I think that's evidence right there. We've had the hard conversation here on Dodgers Daily, Coach. Is Freddie Freeman slowing down? It's okay. He's 34 years old. Slowing down to him doesn't mean he's going to suck or anything like that. It just means he's not going to be like Hall of Fame every single day. So I do think it begs the question for the organization to step in and say, hey, Freddie, look at this, man. You had 2 days off and you go 5 for 8. You're the old Freddie. So let us give you some days off moving forward, maybe a day off in front of an off day for the team itself. Let us give you some windows where we can give you a couple days off to get you into the mode you're in yesterday.
The load management. So the NBA, we've seen this in the NBA forever. They're kind of putting a hammer down on them for too much of it. Load management. Yes, you're 34 years old. You're an elite player. Yes, 2 days off, 5 for 8. I think, as you say, the veterans run these things. Your dad said it best years ago in American Legion baseball. I heard him say it several times. I heard him yell it out to the field. Your coach shouldn't have to get you fired. I forget how you put it. Your coach shouldn't have to ride you every day to play hard. That's basically what Terry was saying. It's the same thing in a big league level. Dave Roberts isn't going there giving rah-rah speeches all the time in the clubhouse. That's not his job. These are grown men, professionals that spend every day of their.
It's fake anyways.
Yes, it is. It is. It does. Those guys are highly motivated because they know there's a 19-year-old in the minor leagues who wants their job and will take it if they don't stay on the top of their game. Those guys are motivated when they wake up. So you don't have to go and motivate these guys. If they're not motivated, they're not going to be there very long. They're going to play themselves out. So like you said, that's fake. You don't have to do that. The veterans are going to lead your team, the clubhouse. We talked about this. This is a great team in the clubhouse from all indications. And Jason Hayward's of the world, Freddie, Mookie. It's obvious this team is very good within the clubhouse.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Boy, Teoscar Hernandez. Here's the thing about this team that you and I, we've talked. We didn't think it was going to ever go on a 5-game skid. Of course, ShoheiOhtani with the hamstring, and then Max Muncy out, and that kind of thing. You never can predict injuries, but still, even with that, I just didn't see this team going on a 5-game losing streak, and the reason is exactly what Teoscar Hernandez is doing, right? Okay, so when ShoheiOhtani, who's hitting like 179 in his last 7 games, Freddie Freeman, who had been struggling, Will Smith has been hitting about $180 in his last 7 games. Mm-hmm. Fine, that's baseball. That happens. I mean, that's the ups and downs that you ride, and you try not to make those are the parts of baseball that you don't make too much out of. That's the even keel part of it. Hey, dude, man, you're 2 hits away from like Freddie was yesterday, right? Yeah. Don't worry about it. This is just baseball, right? But having said that, I felt like this lineup was going to be long enough to where if a couple of guys were struggling, 2 or 3 other guys would make up for it, and they'd still be able to overwhelm the team. So Teoscar Hernandez has been the guy that's been hot.
I love Dodger fans, Casey. We're 2 of them, but we love Dodger. All these different platforms. I follow on Facebook, and yesterday I think there's a question on Facebook. I don't even know who did. It doesn't matter. He was a Dodger fan or a Dodger side. A question in Teoscar. What are your thoughts on Teoscar? And I quoted me and you.
He's great.
He's exactly what we thought. We got exactly what we thought we were going to get. That's all I said. I don't know. Nobody come back at me. But that's what he is. He is what he is. He's going to strike out some. He's going to do it. But he's hitting 260-ish. That's his career average.
Yeah.
He's a run producer. And he go 3 for 5 yesterday, wasn't it? Second game or something?
Coach, and he's hitting the ball to the right side with 2 strikes with the game on the line. I mean,
absolutely.
He's even going above and beyond what I thought. I didn't think he was capable of doing that kind of stuff.
He's a great pickup. I mean, he's been very consistent. Look at him. He stayed around like 260, 270 all year.
Good point.
He hasn't dropped off. He's just been very consistent where he's hitting in the lineup. He don't have all the pressure being up there in the middle of the order, but his job is huge where he's at, especially when the guys behind him aren't hitting much. They're all under 200. He's got to produce something, and he has been. I think that's a great pickup for the Dodgers. We all love T.O. and just keep him forever. That's fine. But that was an interesting. It's just Dodger fans are over there. We're on a 5-game losing streak. They'll throw something out there. I love it though because there's that passion. They all have passion. We love that. It wasn't a negative thing. Hey, what do you think? But we're getting what we wanted out of him. But he was a big, like you said, hit behind runners. Are you kidding me? In the big leagues?
Yeah.
Hey, how about a safety squeeze, Chris? Well, of course,
that was sweet.
Guy hitting 110. That's a pretty.
What do you have to lose?
Yes. First and third. That's a great. As we call it, Marty Lees calls it. I know that comes from Joshua. That's a winning baseball play.
We call it the best play in baseball.
Yes, it's first and third. You get the bunt down, you score a run, you move the runner. You got a sacrifice bunt, guys in scoring position, you score a run. That's the best play in baseball, and the Dodgers ended up being safe at first because the pitcher didn't handle it. That's the other part. On every level, the bunt coverages, you mess that up, things start happening. So that was great to see that the Dodgers even pulled it out. Mm-hmm. But it's like we talked about last year in the playoffs. All of a sudden, you got the Diamondbacks and Phillies out there having 3 sacrifice bunts in one inning. Why? Because it's the playoffs, and they're trying to freaking win. Dodgers got down 5, a 5-game losing streak. We need to win. This is a winning baseball play.
Absolutely.
Here we go. And Chris performed it. Wasn't a great bunt. In that situation, just get it down the technique.
Oh, yeah, it was. It got down and scored the run. It was a great bunt.
Yeah, the technique at third is the ball's down, you go. You're reading it. It's down, we score. And that's exactly what happened. So it's a winning baseball play. It was a great time for the Dodgers to pull that off. Yeah,
you remember Gerald Reed, who was the legendary coach here at Guthrie. He used to say, hey, man, you know what the definition of a great catch is? And we're like, oh, well, you dive. No, man, you're making this way too complicated. Definition of a great catch is any ball that does not hit the ground, right? Yes. That is a great catch. So, the bunt wasn't pretty, but it was a great bunt. That thing got it. Hey, the beauty of the first and third bunt, and Gary Ward used to say that, the legendary coach at Oklahoma State, is that if you can do just one thing on this team better than everybody else, I can find you a role. Chris Taylor can bunt. I've seen it a million different times.
Yep.
So if he can be the guy that can come in and execute in the 8th inning and move a runner over, or in that situation, also score a run and move a runner over. Now let's talk about that first and third bunt.
Yep.
This is a weapon for guys like Gavin Lux, Chris Taylor, maybe even Teoscar Hernandez, guys that don't have high batting averages anyway, so you have nothing to lose, right?
Yep.
Because they're the 90% chance they're going to get out anyways, and then not move the runner all in all. So the reason why that first and third bunt is such a great play is because your first baseman can't crash. So it forces the pitcher to have to handle the ball, and guys can say all they want, but the last time that guy probably fielded a bunt in practice was spring training, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So you're forcing a guy. What you don't want, and Oral Hershiser said this a long time ago, and he said it in a Sunday night baseball game. This is about 10 or 15 years ago. And he point blank said, when you bunt in Major League Baseball, you want to bunt the ball back to the pitcher. And all of us amateur coaches were like, what in the hell are you talking? What? Back? And he goes, think about it, guys. These professional infielders field ground balls every day of their life. They're not going to make a mistake if they field this bunt. You bunt it back to the pitcher, you're talking about a guy that hasn't practiced it. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not stupid. I know it's going to end up and out most of the time.
Right.
But the fact that the first baseman can't crash, because if he does, the guy just steals second base, right?
Yep.
Okay. That forces the pitcher to have to handle the ball. So what's supposed to happen is you're supposed to bunt it hard down the first baseline after the first baseman can't crash. Make the pitcher have to make a tough play. So now you get the runner, like you said, in scoring position and score the run. So all that long-winded to say, if Chris Taylor or one of the auxiliary guys that aren't hitting very well can find a role like that, that's another one of those margins that can help the Dodgers win close games.
Well, in the major league level, you don't see a lot of bunting. Those guys, they can run, they can lay a bunt down. Here's the other part, the main part about it. We even stress this in high school. We got the defense moving. If he did,
great
they
point.
just show a bunt. Everybody in the dugout goes nuts. So the managers, hey, get in. We've all done the same thing. Yell at your third baseman and go, this guy will bunt and can bunt. If they show it every time, now you got your defense, and you get defense moving. Everybody's in panic mode. I don't care who you are. If a guy can bunt, it puts pressure on the defense because we all know he can bunt and he can run. He gets a good bunt down, we're going to get him. And so
well, we saw Gavin Lux screw it up just the other day for the Dodgers not covering first base, right?
It stresses everybody. Like I said, even on the big league level, because they don't do it very often. Like you said, I don't know how much time they spend on butt coverage. As a high school, we did it every day, Case. You probably did the same thing. Every day we worked on that in practice. And we still mess it up sometimes. Look like we never practice someday. But we worked on it every day. They don't do that at the big league level. I'm assuming I'm not there every day, but I'm assuming they got other things going on. But it's a dying art in the major league game, but it sure was great to see it again.
It was, and you saw just how difficult, putting pressure even on a major league pitcher, major league defense, absolutely can. Especially, again, I think the key here is, hey, do I want ShoheiOhtani bunting? No. Do I want Freddie Freeman bunting? No. Do I want Mookie Betts bunting? No. Do I want Will Smith bunting, Max Muncy? No. I don't want Teoscar Hernandez bunting. But when you're talking about Chris Taylor, who, for lack of a better word, can't hit right now. He just can't hit, point blank. Yeah. You have absolutely nothing to lose in that scenario. Why not at least try to advance the runners and score the run? I thought that was really, really, really a smart play. I thought it was great on Chris Taylor's part. Hey, maybe that's the way that he finds a niche. Okay, the 8th inning in the first game, Coach. We talk all the time. You don't have to hit home runs. You don't have to hit we hear all the time, especially as high school coaches, you have all these travel ball guys. You have different guys, even in the professional ranks, that say you have to hit fly balls. Quit hitting ground balls. Quit hitting the ball. Okay, man. Just go to Fangraphs and look at the launch angles between 0 and 10 degrees and look at the batting averages. Research Perry Husband and some of the guys that he's worked with in the major leagues. Okay? It's not about hitting the ball in the air or on the ground. It's about hitting the ball hard. If you hit the ball hard like Jason Hayward did, over 100 miles an hour, I don't care if it hops 3-4 times. It's going to end up in a base hit more times than it's not. So, Jason Hayward, -1 degree launch angle. Now, I'm going to get a little bit nerdy here, but I'm doing it to kind of show a point. Okay, so let me give you kind of a background to this. Anything below 14 degrees is considered a ground ball. 14 to 25 degrees, which is 14 to 25 degrees is considered a line drive. Anything over 25 degrees is considered a fly ball. So even the ground ball high school guys, with your 120-pound second baseman, hit me a ground ball. Okay, even those guys and the professionals that would say don't hit ground balls, like the Josh Donaldson type guys, they all agree that the line drive is the best hit to have. Nobody disagrees with that. So the 14 to 25, like Gavin Lux had, that's the sweet spot. Having said that, okay, -1 degree, that's beyond a ground ball. That's Jason Hayward, got a base hit. Freddie Freeman, opposite field ground ball, -11 degree launch angle. Teoscar Hernandez, 9th inning. He led the 9th inning off with that awesome at-bat where he took the ball the other way. So not only is he taking the ball the other way, -6 degree launch angle. The highest launch angle in that entire sequence between the 8th and 9th inning, including Gavin Lux's hit, where Gavin Lux has been clutch this year, was 14 degrees, which is at the very, 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 very bottom of launch angles for a line drive. I mentioned it in the last game with the way that the Reds beat Yoshinobu Yamamoto in that 3rd inning. They were letting the ball get deep. They were hitting hard ground balls. They were going the other way. You couldn't convince me the Dodgers couldn't figure out how to do that. And by gosh, they did it. And it was fun to watch, wasn't it?
These were major league hitters that they know exactly how to do that. And like you said, Case, I'm glad you came up with that. I don't study it like you do, but I've done this a long time. Fly ball, I don't get it. I don't get the fly ball thing. Yeah, if I'm Martin McGuire or Canseco, hey, I'm trying to lift everything. But even a guy like Aaron Judge, he's so big and strong. He can hit one. He can swing down the ball. Hit a line drive that's going to end up 450 feet because of that type of straight. Get the backspin, get it out of the ballpark. So, they're not always lifting like that. Pitchers can adjust to that too. So I'm glad to hear that, yeah.
The reason why practicing letting the ball get deep like that works is because they feel like if I work right in the middle, then if I get in a game and I'm a little bit early, then I can hit it to left center. And if I'm a little bit late, I can hit it to right center, right? So if you practice hitting the ball exactly up the middle, that gives you that leeway both early and late. Whereas if you're always trying to hit fly balls and you're always early, well, if you're just a touch early, then you're going to swing and miss, right? Or if you're just practicing to hit the ball everything to down the right field line, the opposite field line, and you're a little bit late, then you don't hit it then. So it gives you the leeway to go both ways. So that was a lot of fun. I wanted to bring that up with the Dodgers, how, hey, they generated a rally by bunting, by hitting ground balls, by going the other way with the pitch. Now, I'm not saying they need to do that all the time, and I'm not saying the first 4 or 5 guys ever need to do that, but I do think the bottom of the lineup, your marginal type players like Chris Taylor, Gavin Lux, all those guys, that James Outman in AAA, we saw him have a bunt base hit the other day, hit one down the left field line, the opposite field. Those type of guys definitely need to buy into that type of philosophy in the bottom of the lineup, and I think that will help. Okay.
The old story case, we used to tell guys, they show up. If I bring the third, your batting average goes up the more the infield comes in. When they bring the infield in, a 200 here, I always say 200 becomes a 300 here. Your batting average goes up as the infield comes in. The threat of the bunt does that also.
Yep.
Hey, I'm only hitting one team. I can run a little bit. Hey, look at this. I may do that if you're going to stay back on me. You'll make his pitcher field it. He has no clue. There's not, Greg Maddux is retired. It might be a double play if you hit it to Greg Maddux. He was that good a fielder. He was that great a fielder, but there's not very many of those guys running around in a lot of ways. Anyway.
It's always funny, too, because you preach, get the ball. And hey, I just interviewed a guy, Andre Lipsius. He just came to the Dodgers from the Tigers, and he said, the Dodgers tweaked his swing to get him to get the ball in the air a little bit more. And so when people hear that, they automatically assume that the Dodgers want him to hit fly balls and home runs. What he actually means is, no, they want him to start getting the ball more in the air just to hit line drives instead of like 5-hopper ground balls. So I think also people misinterpret when you say hit the ball. When a professional hitting coach says hit the ball in the air, not on the ground, what they're saying is what we want is line drives, not fly balls.
Absolutely.
People definitely misinterpret that. All professional coaches, they want line drives.
No doubt about it. Hit the ball in the air, but hit it hard, hit it deep. We can move runners, tag and move runners.
All right, no errors yesterday. Starters gave up just 2 runs in 14 innings. So we mentioned it a minute ago. Hey, good pitching, good defense, timely hitting, moving runners, execution. Man, that is baseball. I don't care. The more some things change, the more they stay the same. You can try to change the game of baseball all you want. But I'm telling you, man, when you pitch, you play defense, and you get good timely hitting, you win stinking games, all right?
On every level, like we said, and you'll see more of it when the playoffs roll around. The weather gets cold, depending on where you're playing. You got cold weather, you got great pitching. Everybody's elite pitching is on the mound, and you see that more in the playoffs. But the Dodgers are in a tough situation. We're getting ready to lose another game, and do whatever you got to do, but the recipe right there, Case. Great pitching, defense, timely hitting. You and I won a state championship with that right there. In 1989, with the same, and nothing has changed. The reason how we did that, how teams have done that in the history of baseball is success. Is moving runners around. I just cringe when I'm watching a game and see guys, guy on second base, nobody out, and everybody's trying to jerk, just hit the ball behind the runner. I know at major league level, I don't pay you to do that, but like you said, if it's the ball in the order, do something. Get the infield, get the infielders moving around.
Yeah,
get them out of their comfort zone.
Yeah.
Third baseman's going to be panicking. I promise you, and the pitcher is too. If this guy's going to bunt,
Well, everybody's going to be pissed because I'm just telling you, when you screw up a bunt coverage, like the manager takes that personally, like rundowns and bunt coverages, there's nothing on earth that a manager takes more personally than screwing something. I can tell you, every time we were in a rundown, I was like, please execute this because I don't want to work on that crap tomorrow at practice. Yeah. It's like, oh, thank God, right? I'm telling you, man, they take that crap personally. When you mess those up, it like just sends a vibe to the other team like, oh, man, we're rolling backwards now.
We talk about winning baseball plays. Those are losing baseball plays. It's almost like getting a kick blocked in football.
It is.
About every time, whether it's a punt or a field goal, getting a kick block just about gets you beat about every time at some point. It changes everything. Maybe it just does, and it's kind of the same thing here. It's just one bunt coverage, but hey, won the game. Not only did we get the run, we scored a run, moved a guy to second, but we got a guy on first now too because you butchered it. I mean, big play.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And just kind of the momentum part of it, hey, a dunk is only worth 2 points, the same as any other shot, but it's not because it gets the crowd in the game. It creates momentum. So it just, whenever you play team baseball like that, it does that. The bullpen was absolutely fantastic. Of course, Hudson got him in the jam. 3-1, bases loaded, and I'm thinking, oh, dang, man, honestly, I'm not going to lie. I didn't know exactly what was going to happen at that point. he just served one in. He said, "Here it is," and boy, the Dodgers got out of it, and he gave us a little bit of excitement out of that. Blake Trinan is absolutely filthy.
Yep.
Okay, Tyler Glasnow, Coach. Hey, he showed yesterday, of course, he hung the curveball to Francisco Lindor. We always talk about hitting at every level is about hitting mistakes. If pitchers go out and execute and make the pitch they're supposed to, a hitter's not going to hit it. End of discussion.
Yep.
So as a hitter, you've got to feast off the mistakes he made. We always say we made one mistake, and he probably made 10 mistakes and got away with 9 of them. But one of them he didn't get away with, and that was the hanging curveball to Francisco Lindor. 7 innings, 2 hits, 2 runs, 8 strikeouts, 2 walks. Only in the zone with his fastball 51% of the time. Only in the zone with a slider 41% of the time. I say that all to say not to be negative. The way that you do baseball, Coach, is you address the things that are going wrong with a positive outlook on, hey, if we just start doing this properly, look how good you're going to be, right? So to say that he was only in the zone with his fastball 51%, slider 41%, still went 7 innings, just 2 runs, that right there goes to show you just how good Tyler Glasnow is.
And that's not necessarily mean it's a bad pitch either.
Right.
He's got guys swinging at stuff. He's got some movement. He's putting balls over. If he's got guys swinging at some balls, I'd love to go back. Somebody's probably done this. Go back and look at Bruce Sutter, one of the old, split finger fastball 100 years ago. He looked like an old beer league guy out there. We used to sit there and watch Rex, and I would always be. He never threw the stinking thing in the zone. It started out in the zone. The time the guy swung, the daggum things in the dirt.
And
with the ball. Yes, because it just went. It just dove. So yeah, that ball's out of the zone, but it's a filthy pitch, and the guy has no chance of hitting it. So not all those out of the zone are necessarily bad pitches. Maybe he just missed a little bit. I don't know. Maybe the umpire was giving him a little bit of something or two. But yeah, you don't want to miss there too. But if you look at the line score, look at his line. They were swinging at some bad pitches, and that's also a good sign for him.
Yep, absolutely. Gavin Stone, I've said this a couple of different times, Coach. Gavin Stone, okay, his 2-seam, his sinker, which turns right. He featured that yesterday more than any other pitch. Matter of fact, he threw a sinker almost twice as much as any other pitch. So we're talking about the Dodgers bunting. We're talking about the Dodgers hitting the ball the other way, letting the ball get deep, hitting balls with low launch angles to win games. Now we're talking about a pitcher that instead of using high-riding 4-seams and tumbling changeups to get a ton of swing and miss, we're talking about a guy that's moving the ball sideways to miss barrels. I mean, this was as old school of a day for the Dodgers as you could possibly get. I mean, hey, we said many different times that movement always beats velo, right? No matter how hard you throw it, the guys are going to catch up with it if it's straight. So you're talking about Gavin Stone that threw a sinker. I've been saying this many different times. He's at his best when he's turning the ball right with the sinker, turning the ball left with his cutter and slider. So when you look at his sinker and then the combination between his slider, cutter, whatever you want to call it, he threw those pitches almost twice as many times as he did any other pitch, and that was his 4-seam fastball. And he threw his changeup the 5th most. So he went sideways to miss barrels, and then he played his 4-seam and changeup off the sideways movement, and he had the Mets hitters frustrated all day. And I just really think that's when Gavin Stone has his most amount of margin for error, and that's when he's at his best, and you could see the confidence.
As we just talked about it a minute ago, how do these guys ever get a hit? When you see a major league pitcher that's really on and hitting his spots and landing the pitches that he's trying to perform based on a lot of reasons, you're like we've all sit behind home plate there and go, good Lord, how does anybody hit this guy? And if he's on and he's got that, he's got a plan. He's not just throwing something, hey, I'll bid this one right here. He's got a plan how he's wanting to attack these hitters with the movement to avoid the barrels. God, he has grown so much, Case. I saw him last summer in Oklahoma City. I know you did too, after he was sitting back down. What a great story. But it's like we said, I remember you said it because you got a little relationship with the guy from all the time down in Oklahoma City. But those guys work so hard at their craft. Like I said, every day he's trying to make himself better. And it's just a credit to him what he's able to do and where he's at right now. Now, is it the finished product? No, but he's heading the right way. He's a good major league pitcher right now. And he's young, and we'll see. Long term, we'll see how that pans out. but what he's come from last year and to where he's at now, and what he, like you said, the movement, he understands what he's trying to do with these hitters. I'm trying to miss barrels. Here's how I'm going to do it. Not everybody has that capability. Not everybody has that arsenal to do that. And he's not only has it, but he knows what he's doing with it. And that's when, as they used to say, the game's slowing down for him. In football, you hear that all the time, or in basketball, it's slowing down. It's starting to make sense. I'm getting experience now where it looks, it's slowing down for Gavin Stone now, where he has a plan, he knows what he's doing, he's executing his pitches, and it's beautiful to watch.
Man, when you have a doubleheader and you only have to use four relievers, Vesia, Trinan, Grove, and Hudson, and none of them. Well, I guess Vesia went 2 innings in the second game, but it's neat. We're kind of the old school theme here, the hitting ground balls, hitting the ball the other way, letting the ball get deep, all those kinds of things, bunting guys over with first and third, this sideways east and west movement, using location to miss barrels instead of using high ride and tumble to miss bats, right? The old school aspects of those. Let me add another one. Hey, the Dodgers starters are going deep into games. Last year in Oklahoma City, only one time one pitcher, Landon Knack, went 7 innings. That's it. No other pitcher went at least 7 innings in AAA Oklahoma City last year. You had 2 of them do it in a doubleheader yesterday. This is a philosophical change within the organization that, in my eyes, is very – hey, I don't mind if you're going to use an extra rest, quasi 6-man, fine. But if you're going to do that, I've been saying this all offseason, that means your starters have to get deep in games. You can't have it both ways. So I love this philosophical change.
Yeah, and they're getting plenty of rest in between. And like you said, Case, it's an organizational deal. In Oklahoma City, they're not burning those guys up. They're getting their work in and whatever. They're using a lot of pitchers. They have to go deep into the games, and that's an organizational deal. The great thing about the Dodgers, they have guys that can do it. But the pitch count's big on that too. They're effective with it. Not walking a lot of people.
Right.
The defense has done pretty well behind them, so the pitch count comes into play there too. So there's a lot of positives of that. We're able to get 7 innings, and stay with a legitimate pitch count that it's not going to put the guys. But they've given them so much rest. So we talk about going to 6-man rotation or something. That's another extra day of rest, or however they're going to do it. Yeah, I need you to go deep, but we're going to, you go get another day of rest. So, they're still taking care of those guys, and it's not like the old school. We're 180 pitches, and then we'll see you again in 3 days.
Yeah, I mean, you just can't give a guy an extra day off and then only get 4 or 5 innings out of him. You just don't have enough bullpen arms, and then it creates. I think the Dodgers are also seeing it creates too much chaos with the up-down train. With as good as the Dodgers are with transactions, it just creates too much chaos. Now, hey, use your last spot, maybe your last 2 spots, as far as your 13 pitchers go, to keep a fresh arm coming up and down. But not like 3 or 4 spots, right? I mean, that's just way too much chaos. Hey, Coach, this has been a super fun conversation. Haven't had a chance to talk to you in a while. Final thoughts.
Like I said, it's wonderful. I was wanting to get on with you today. I would never get on with you Sunday with the Dodgers in the throes of their losing streak. But even before, I was just thinking before I was going to get on with you what I was going to say. It's just baseball. We don't like it any more than anybody else. But again, we got to remember that everybody has major league players as multi-million-dollar players. On every team. So you're going to have those times. Like I said, the Dodgers hadn't had very many of them. That's the biggest losing streak in 5 years. So they don't go through many of those. But they're also built to come back. But again, you got to remember we did have there's some things missing. Max Muncy he frustrates us with his defense and his strikeouts sometimes. The dude produces runs, and you got a run producer out of your lineup. And Shohei has been hampered somewhat. It just sounds like he'll be fine. His bruise. I mean, we know he's going to be fine, but you also can't be stupid with it. So that was a good. The other part, everybody's mad because we lose 3 to a bad Reds team. We can't have it both ways. And don't come at me and say, well, we swept a bad Mets team. Right. It's all Major League Baseball. We've got to understand that. You can get swept by anybody. You can sweep anybody. That's how this thing works. And it's just great the Dodgers got off that. And today, after a doubleheader sweep, everything looks great. Let's go
Yeah,
play.
it sure
Let's
does.
go play again today.
Sure. Hey, it's kind of fun being a fan instead of having to be in control of it.
Yes.
Because we can ride the emotions of it, right? This is kind of like we were so trained to not hey, we got to be this right here, but we don't have to be that way on this show, right? So that's a hell of a lot of fun, isn't it?
That's right. We can ride the train up and down. Here we go.
Absolutely.
I'm that guy.
All right, Coach. Hey, man, love you. Great to see you. Hope you had a good Memorial Day. Hope you got to say hi to all your folks and do all that kind of thing. So, hey, we'll talk to you next time, man.
Love you too. Say hi to all the family, especially Terry and Bev.